But these prop bets, man, we gotta stop them. We can't be live betting whether it's gonna be a ball or a strike. It's a nightmare.
They're facing up to 65 years in federal prison if convicted on all charges to rig bets on individual pitches thrown.
Just a few days ago, one of the best closers in baseball was indicted on federal charges. Not for drugs, not for assault, but for allegedly rigging individual pitches in baseball games so gamblers could win money. And here's the crazy part. He was already making millions of dollars a year. But before we get into the video today, guys, thank you again for all your support on our road to 50,000 subscribers. As you know, anyone who is subscribed with notifications on is entered into a giveaway for an MLB official jersey. We're giving one away every single upload. This video's winner is J_Way. Congratulations, bro. Hit me up to claim it. Now that that's out of the way, let's get right into it. Now, let me tell you the full story of how Emmanuel Clase went from being compared to Mariano Rivera to facing 65 years in prison, and why what happened with these two Cleveland Guardian pitchers should terrify every major sports league in America. Emmanuel Clase wasn't just good. He was dominant in a way that only a handful of relievers in baseball history have ever been. In 2024, Clase posted a 0.61 ERA across 74 appearances, the third lowest ERA by any MLB reliever in a single season in baseball history. He finished third in AL Cy Young voting, which is the highest finish by a relief pitcher since 2008. Check these numbers out. Clase was a 3-time All-Star, a 2-time American League Reliever of the Year, and led the majors in saves for 3 consecutive years from 2022 till 2024. His 100-mile-an-hour cutter was literally one of the nastiest pitches in baseball. In August 2024, he broke the Cleveland Guardians' all-time franchise saves record, becoming the greatest closer in Cleveland history.
Book it. The Guardians have a new all-time saves leader.
But what about the money? In April 2022, Clase signed a 5-year, $20 million contract extension with club options that could have pushed the total to nearly $30 million. He was making $4.5 million in 2025 and was on track for a future contract worth nearly $100 million. So remember, this dude had everything. And according to federal prosecutors, he threw it all away for bribes as low as $5,000 to $7,000. We're talking about up to 65 years in prison if convicted on all counts. Each charge alone carries up to 20 years. So here's how the scheme allegedly worked. Clase would agree in advance with corrupt bettors about specific pitches he would throw, the type, the speed, whether it would be a ball or a strike. Then these bettors would use this insider information to place prop bets on those exact pitches. And these bets were insanely specific. We're not talking about who wins the game. We're talking about whether a single pitch would be faster or slower than 94.5 miles an hour, or whether that one pitch would be called a ball or a strike. And the very first example is from May 19th, 2023, a game between the Guardians and the New York Mets. Clase allegedly told bettors he would throw a pitch faster than 94.5, and bettors won $27,000 on that single pitch. 2 weeks later, Clase allegedly spiked a slider at least 5 feet in front of home plate. Bettors won $38,000. But here's where it gets crazy. The indictment says that Clase would sometimes use his cell phone to coordinate with bettors during actual games.
Direct interactions, not with the benefactors.
Yeah, not
during the game.
Not through during the game.
One of the bettors sent Clase a gif of a man hanging himself with toilet paper. Clase responded with a gif of a sad puppy dog face. Even though the Guardians had won the game, this guy was still sad. And this is all in the federal indictment. They have the text messages. In total, prosecutors allege Clase helped bettors win at least $400,000. By April 2025, he started requesting and receiving kickback payments for all of those bets he helped get done. Now, Luis Ortiz is a different story. The 26-year-old was acquired by the Guardians in December 2024 from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he posted a 3.32 ERA in 2024, but was still establishing himself, and his 2025 salary was just north of $750,000. Now, the indictment says that Ortiz joined the scheme in June 2025, and it sounds like Clase recruited him. And honestly, I really feel bad for this guy. I mean, obviously he had the decision. Nobody forced him to do that. He made his bed. He's gonna have to sleep in it. But the guy joined the scheme like a month or two before they got caught. So it's just kind of rough. Now, on June 15th, 2025, Ortiz allegedly agreed to throw the first pitch of the second inning for a ball against Seattle. And the bettors agreed to pay Ortiz $5,000. Clase would then get another $5,000 for arranging it. The two bettors wagered $13,000 on that single pitch. pitch. Now, when Ortiz received a payment of 90,000 Dominican pesos, which is about $1,400 USD, Clase allegedly told him to lie if asked and say, "This payment is for a horse." Then on June 27th, Ortiz did it again against the Cardinals. He agreed to throw the first pitch of the third inning for a ball in exchange for $7,000. And here's how brazen this was. Before the June 27th game, bank security footage captured Clase withdrawing $50,000 in cash. He gave $15,000 to one of the bettors who was in Cleveland that day to wager on Ortiz's rigged pitch. Unfortunately for Clase and Ortiz and the bettors, they didn't know that Anthony Volpe would be up to bat during that pitch. Just listen to Ortiz as he strikes out Volpe on a pitch at his knees. He doesn't sound too happy that Volpe swung.
It just started because he might have been the only guy.
Now, combined between Clase and Ortiz, gamblers won at least $400,000, wagering on these rigged pitches over 3 years. MLB has sophisticated monitoring systems to detect unusual betting patterns, but given the current situation and how long it's been going on, I think it's safe to say it could be way better. Sportsbooks are required to report suspicious activity, and when bettors keep dropping thousands on whether a single pitch will be 0.5 miles per hour faster or slower, and it keeps happening exactly right, red flags are everywhere. Now, you can get lucky on a few pitches in a row. Hell, you could even get hot and win for a few weeks. But if you keep winning on the same bet with the same team, with the same pitchers for years, that goes beyond luck and becomes very suspicious. The unusual betting activity was flagged by sportsbooks in June 2025. MLB immediately contacted federal law enforcement and the FBI took over. Once the feds got involved with subpoena power for bank records, phone records, text messages, it was over. Now, even though there is all this evidence, both players are maintaining their innocence through their attorneys. But the feds don't bring cases like this unless they're very confident. So we'll see what happens.
How many of them are doing prop betting on whether or not they're going to throw a ball or strike? And how many of them are on the Guardians? Injury? No, he's not injured. Steroids? Suspended? Nope, didn't do that. Gambling? Get the F out of here.
Now, let's keep in mind that this is not happening in a vacuum. The same U.S. Attorney's Office charging Clase and Ortiz, well, they brought down a massive NBA gambling scandal just a couple weeks ago in October. Over 30 people were arrested, including Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, Portland Trailblazer head coach Chauncey Billups, and former NBA player Damon Jones. The FBI called it Operation Nothing But Net. Or what about what's going on in the UFC right now? Allegedly, fighter Isaac Delgarian threw fights in order to receive lump sum payments, and apparently he's just the tip of the iceberg in the UFC organization.
As we are speaking right now, I get a text. I can tell you a fight that I am 100% certain was thrown and 2 others that were attempted.
Oh, man.
So when you see the MLB scandal break just weeks after the NBA bombshell, just days after the UFC allegations, you realize that this is what's happening when legalized sports gambling meets athletes that can manipulate outcomes. Jeff Passan put it perfectly here.
Games are only as good as they are believable. And the second that you start chipping away at the idea that what we're watching is real, what we're watching is on the up and up, what's the point of watching sports if you don't feel like there's real competition?
Sure, Rob Manfred just announced that prop bets on pitches will be limited to $200, but how is that a serious solution? Like, Rob, guys, maybe let's just eliminate all prop bets. Now, Uni, what am I saying? I gotta catch myself here. Obviously, that's never gonna happen. Greed is what runs sports. Greed is what's running everything. The casinos are way too invested in the money they make from these prop bets. The league gets too much in terms of their partnerships with the casinos and gambling companies. So these guys are way too far into bed with each other to just say, hey, yeah, let's pull back all this revenue we're making. And that's the unfortunate truth. So the issue is obvious. Betting on whether the Yankees beat the Red Sox requires the whole team to compete, to cooperate. And that's something that's way harder to manipulate and probably doesn't happen that often. But betting on whether Emmanuel Clase's first pitch will be a ball or strike, he controls that entirely. One person, one action, which is very easy to manipulate. Commissioners across sports are sounding alarms. Some want to ban prop betting on individual pitches entirely. Others want to eliminate all player-specific prop bets. But again, that's tough when prop betting is a massive revenue driver for sports books that are now major league partners. So if Clase and Ortiz are found guilty, their baseball careers are over. That's 100%. And there are already reports that gambling evidence against Clase is irrefutable and he'll never pitch again. Think about what Clase is losing. He's 27. He was the all-time saves leader for a historic franchise. He was on pace to make 9 figures in his career. He earned over $12 million, but risked everything for bribes of $5,000 to $7,000. Now, I want to make a quick point here because I see a lot of people saying the same narrative. I don't understand. This guy's making $20 million. Terry Rozier's making $30 million. He throws this all away just so he can make 10 grand, 5 grand on a couple bets. I don't think that's the narrative, guys. Obviously, these guys aren't dumb enough to do that just for that reason. They don't need that money. But I think the pressure from their friends or family or people that they know closely that aren't making millions of dollars like they are and are saying, bro, please help me out. Yo, it's so easy. Just sit out a game and let me know. Please, please, please. That is what's happening here. They don't need an extra $5,000, but the pressure they're facing from close friends or other people in their circle that are asking them to give them a slice of the pie and you won't get caught, it's so easy. That's the temptation they're facing, and that's where they're caving. That's my opinion. But back to the story here. If this is happening in MLB, UFC, the NBA, it's definitely something people are saying is also happening in the NFL. What about college sports, hockey? This could be happening across every major sports league. I just saw that in the Turkish soccer league, like 60 plus refs were just indicted for throwing games and making calls that weren't real. So like, guys, this is definitely not something new, but it's a problem across sports, period. And sports betting is not making it better. Sports betting is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Every league has sportsbook partnerships. Gambling ads are everywhere. The apps are on everyone's phones. Gambling has never been more tempting than now. And athletes are human. They get tempted too. Some struggle with money. Some have gambling problems. Some are facing pressure from family or friends. Some athletes might just want to feel a little thrill as they've been desensitized to money entirely.
There's so much temptation thrown his way. What? Are you kidding me? Temptation?
No, for what?
There's
5,000?
temptation in the world
5,000?
for everyone. And we say, no, I could deal drugs, but I don't.
You don't?
So yeah, the temptation is real. And with hyper-specific prop bets, the ability to manipulate is right there. One pitch, one shot, one play. One person controlling that outcome. And FBI Assistant Director Christopher Reyes said it perfectly. The defendant's alleged greed not only established an unfair advantage for select bettors, but also sullied the reputation of America's pastime. So that all brings us to the crossroads we're at. Professional sports leagues need to decide what's more important, gambling revenue or the integrity of the sport itself. And right now, they're trying to have both, and it's not working. The saddest part is that Emmanuel Clase idolized Mariano Rivera and was on a trajectory to be mentioned in the same conversation. His career 1.88 ERA across 360 innings was elite. He was one of 5 pitchers in All-Star Game history with at least 2 career saves, joining Hall of Famer Rivera, Eckersley, and Sutter. Take a look at this clip and tell me this isn't a man who loved baseball.
Got him! Clase strikes out the side in the 9th inning, and the American League wins the All-Star Game for the 9th consecutive season.
He was writing his own Hall of Fame story, and he threw it all away for pocket change when he was already rich and from peer pressure from friends or family that they probably needed some money to. Clase will be remembered as one of the biggest what-ifs in baseball history. The Pete Rose comparisons are probably already being made. Rose was baseball's all-time hits leader, banned for betting on baseball. The difference is obvious though. Rose bet on his team to win, whereas Clase allegedly manipulated his performance to lose by throwing automatic balls and etc. So that is easily worse. And for fans, we're left wondering what's real, because now when you're watching a game and a pitcher throws a wild pitch in the dirt, was that just bad? Or was it rigged? When a starter sits out with a minor injury, is it legitimate or is money changing hands? And again, I'm not saying that that is what's happening all the time, but you cannot blame a fan for now starting to think that the integrity of sports in general is being lost because, well, it's been happening before. We only just found about this case. Who is to say it's not happening more? And besides for the point where players are specifically maybe throwing games or throwing pitches, there's already conspiracies that leagues themselves, like the NBA or NFL, have their own secret agenda that they tell the refs to then go out and manipulate outcomes of games. Now, that doubt, that uncertainty, that's the real damage here. Not just to Clase and Ortiz, who allegedly betrayed their team and the sport, but to the game game itself. Now, MLB's investigation is ongoing. More details will emerge. We might find out that there were more games, more bettors, maybe more players involved. The NBA investigation involved 34 arrests, so who knows how deep the MLB's does. My favorite part of this story so far is that Clase has even come out and said the FBI has confused his calls and texts, claiming he wasn't betting on baseball, but rooster fights back in the Dominican Republic. Which, I'll be honest, I don't really buy, since it's already confirmed he was calling people mid-game several times. So unless these were extremely emergency bets that needed to be placed on a rooster fight, I don't know if I'm buying it. If anything, I just chalk this up to a last second desperate chance to save his MLB career. So that's where we are at today, where we're all left wondering how many more athletes are like this. How many simply haven't been caught yet? We don't know yet. But hopefully by the end of all of this, we're gonna figure something out. Now, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that Clase and Ortiz are the only guys in MLB doing this? Or are there other incidences that you guys find suspicious, maybe on a team-wide, a player-wide, or a league-wide, that we should be looking at as well? And what is the solution here? Because Major League Sports are not gonna remove their partnerships with gambling companies. There's just way too much money involved, and they're not gonna do that. So what do we do here? Let me know in the comments. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one.